Sanibonani guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I am so sorry, I know it has been a while, but there's a lot going on right now. If you don't know, I'm hosting my first ever show, worship event. I've had worship nights, 2 worship nights before, but this is the first time that I'll be singing my own music, original music. And I'm very excited about that. So I've had like shoots and studio time and had to travel back and forth from Middleburg to Joburg, so a lot has been going on. On top of that, I had two of my the bottom two teeth taken out, so that was also so difficult for me. I couldn't speak, I couldn't sing, so only this week am I able to somewhat speak without it, being painful. So please bear with me, and I am so sorry, but I'm so excited to take you guys on this journey with me. I'll be giving you guys exclusive behind the scenes and rehearsals, vlogs, and just all things music, all things preparations to the show. The show is called God's Promise, a healing experience. It's basically a place where people can just come sit in the presence of God, and let God just work in their hearts and just take away their anxiety, their burdens. The song or my upcoming single you guys are the first to know. My upcoming single is called God's Promise, so I'll be releasing that sometime in May. But it also speaks about bringing our worries, our anxieties to God. So that is really what this show is about. It's really about bringing all of these things to God. So I'm very, very excited about it. I'm planning, my friends are helping me plan, and I have an amazing team on board for it. So I really, really cannot wait. Anyway, so where were we? So backtrack to when I was crying on the internet. Anyway, guys, yeah, so made it to Mpumalanga's choir. I think that's where we stopped, and I was singing. Guys, as we in high school, I was really wild in terms of music. Like, if there was any group or anything that you guys are starting, I was a part of it. Like, I just loved to sing. So I was part of a group called The Dust from Witbank. Then I was part of a group called This Is It in high school. And then I was also part of the Mpumalanga Youth Choir. So I was living my best life, really. It was really beautiful. Obviously, Mpumalanga Youth Choir was founded by the great Renette Bauer from the UJ Choir. She also was a conductor of the UJ Choir for a long period of time, and obviously my mentor. So applying at UJ, the dream and the goal was really UJ Choir. I was like, I have to make it into that choir. Like, I've heard about this lady and I've heard this choir, I've heard their songs, I have to be there. I applied to one university, guys. Like, I remember my dad was like, what if they don't take you? What if, why aren't you applying to other places? I was like, they're gonna take me. Like, UJ has to take me, guys. Like, I need to be in the UJ choir. UJ has to take me. And I remember how disappointed I was, because remember, you apply for 2 options, right? Your first choice and your second choice. So they rejected me for this first choice, and I received the letter. Yo, guys, my whole world was so shattered. Like, I was so sad, I was like, guys, UJ Choir. And I'm like, where else would I go? Like, because I had this whole dream, about joining the UJ Choir and meeting this lady, So first choice came and everything. So now I'm looking at other options, other universities. I thought of TUT, because I thought, okay, maybe I can also do music there and everything. So then I received a second letter, maybe 2 weeks later, and my cousin, who's technically my uncle, got accepted into UJ for accounting. So he was at home and he's like, oh man, would have been so nice for us to be at the same university together. And so he sees this letter on top of the table or the couch or something, and he says, oh, why didn't you open this letter? And I was like, it's probably the same as. And this guy, actually, guys, wait, pause, he played such a huge role in you hear more in my story with the UJ Choir, actually, now come to think of it. Actually, guys, wow. So anyway, he says, why don't you open it? You don't know, you never know. I'm like, okay. So he opens the letter, he reads it, and he's like, how God, they took you, they accepted you for your second course, for your second choice. I'm like, really? I look at the letter, we are pleased to, confirm, or whatever it is that they write. It's been so long ago. And I am just like over the moon, guys. I'm so happy. I'm just like, what? This is amazing. So anyway, I prepare, I go to UJ, and I get there. So during orientation week, I arrived a week early for orientation. So I go to orientation and everything, and then I remember there was one day so I had heard that the UJ choir is on the main campus. So I was at DFC, Doornfontein campus. So I heard that no, the UJ choir rehearses and is at the main on the main campus. So I thought to myself, you know what, I need to find time and go to this campus and find out about auditions. So I remember seeing a poster on our campus as well about auditions. And then I remember a few of my friends that I stayed at Res with, so I had made friends. They were like, no, let's, just go around, take the bus and go to all of the campuses and just look around. I was like, sure. We go to APB, we get off, we look around, we go to APK. So when we get to APK, I go to like the main office, and I'm like, I've been seeing posters about the UJ choir. Where can I go to inquire? Where can I go? They're like, okay, go that way. They direct me, and I get there. When I get there, I found a lady by the name of Karaba, and she's like, hey, today we're full, but if you come back tomorrow, which was going to be a Friday, perhaps I can squeeze you in. I'll speak to Renette and tell her your situation, that you didn't know and you really want to audition for the choir, and see if we can perhaps, have a slot for you, or if someone cancels, then we'll call you. I was like, okay. So now I'm like, yo guys, I hope someone cancels, like no offense to them, so fine. I go home, and then I call her the Friday. So we're doing like games day at UJ for orientation. So I call her like around 11, and I'm like, I just wanted to find out, do you guys have a slot for me? What's the chat? And then she says, oh, hi Kapsile, yes, if you can come now, we can audition you, we can let you in. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. I tell my friend, who I call my brother, or Charlie, I'm like, Charlie, I'm going. Please let me know if there's anything that happens that I need to know, because we stayed at the same res. I'm like, I'm going to audition. I'm like, now I take the bus, go to UJ choir. I get there, and she's like, oh yeah, Kabisi, oh yeah, she's waiting for you, you can come in. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I fill in the form, and I write there like previous choir, Mpumalanga choir. So she sees that, she's like, oh, you're from Middleburg, Mpumalanga choir. Did you know I founded it? I was like, yes, I know everything about you. I know, you were born in Middleburg, this and that, da, 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 da. We wrote a whole test about you, girl. I know about you. And she was like, oh, 10 points for you, so it already started on like a great note. And then I did my audition, and it went well. And then we received our results, right? So now, at that time, it was before they emailed you your results. So they would put up a list, right, of who made it into the choir. So there was a list of people at the top, and then people at the bottom. So the people at the top, their names were written in red. And the people at the bottom, their names were written in black. So the same cousin, he takes a picture. He's like, okay, he takes a picture, he sends it to me. He says, I actually don't know what this means. Yabo, me now, Kapsilen goes. I'm like, I do. It means I didn't make it into the choir. But thank you so much anyway. I am so heartbroken. I am shattered. I'm like, yo, Then he later told me, as he was walking away, because obviously they had posted the list outside of the choir. As he was walking away, going back to class, he was like, no man, like something in him said, go back and ask, like go back and actually go into the choir room and ask the choir assistant or the conductor, like, what does this actually mean? What are the names in red? So he goes back, he turns around, he goes back. he finds Karabo, who was the choir assistant at the time, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, hello. I'm looking at the results at the outside. I just wanted to find out what do the names in red mean? Are those the people that didn't make it to the choir?" And she's like, "No, those are the new addition to the choir. So those are the new members, and then the ones in black, those are the old members who have made it back into the choir." And then he says, "Okay, thank you." He immediately calls me. He's like, "Gabby, you made it into the choir." I went back, I asked, and they said, "No, those are the new addition to the choir." And I'm like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, something." I'm like, "How you went back?" It's like, "Yeah, something said I must go back." Yeah, guys, I was so happy. I was so happy. I was like, anyway, it had always been my dream. It had always been my dream. So I was like, "Guys, UJ choir." Anyway, I was so excited. I stepped into the first rehearsal. So this was like maybe 2 weeks later. We had our first rehearsal. The moment I walked into that room, yo, guys, I cannot explain that feeling. And I remember we started with like warm-ups and everything, and then when we split into voice groups, and I heard like proper bass. In Mpumalanga is choir and in youth choir and school choir, like, yes, the bass is bassing, but guys, hey, it was just different. Let me just say that. And just to hear a slight, like a professional choir, let me say that, yo, guys. And I remember at some point we did the warm-up belladonna, and we split and we did like a canon, and guys, it felt like I was in heaven. I was like, "Guys, this is how heaven must be." And I remember at some point Renette was like, old members, or she said, "New members, stand up and sing this song." We did it and we sang, and then she said, "Okay, I want you to listen to the old members, and I want you to hear the tone and the color and the phrasing that they do. Just hear the difference." They stood up, guys, and they sang. Yo, we were just like, "Oh my goodness!" And Pela, we are there, like, we're young kids, and there are all these guys and girls who are so confident and who are like rocks in the choir. Yeah, guys. Anyway, Yuchika was beautiful, and I think that's where my love for music just, I felt even more in love with music, and I started learning really about music theory and technique and all of these things, that I think I knew about in Mpumalanga Youth Choir, but I had to learn more now. We had more rehearsals, and we started having like events, and we'd get to travel, and I started making friends. That's where I met Usizo no Sandile, my friends, as well as Abu Mklo, Abu Grace, Abu Alexi, all of our friends. And guys, that was such a beautiful space that we created there, man. That was 2014. 2015, we had our first international trip. Oh, guys, when I tell you my wildest dreams. Yeah, but anyway, we had a competition abroad, we won, and we came back and we traveled Europe, and just beautiful times. And in 2015, that's also when I auditioned for Clash of the Choirs. A friend of mine who passed away now, Sakepi, here, guys, he was on my case. You need to audition for Clash of the Choirs. You would make it. You need to do this. You need to do this. And I actually did, and I made it. And yo, guys, that guy was so selfless and so kind. He actually threw me a surprise party to say congratulations, you've made it through. He cooked the whole night. So he was like one of the best cooks at Rez. Cooked the meal, surprised me with gifts and a cake, and it was really one of the best times ever. I was in Clash of the Choirs. So my Clash of the Choirs experience, yo, this is gonna be very long, guys. Maybe I'll just touch the surface. It was really amazing in terms of learning the ins and outs of the music industry. I got to see a lot of how production is, studio. I think that's when I was in studio for the first time, like, a real studio, working with Ukaya, who was the MD at the time, doing overdubs, doing live performances, and all of these things, that go on behind the scenes. It was really amazing. I learned a lot, and also from Ukeli as well, learning a lot from her, learning a lot from other musicians that were on the show, Abubusi, and oh, guys, even learning a lot from other choir members from other choirs from the other provinces, because we all slept, or we lived in one hotel, you know. So we stayed there for like a month and a half. So we would chill together and make music and write songs, and that's when I learned how to do runs. Because I always struggled with runs, guys. Like Usnetemba, there's this guy from UJ Choir. He would always do like these runs whenever we'd walk back to race, and I'm like, guys, like, Sneh, how do you even do that? Like, how do you know where to go? How do you know which notes to choose, where to land? You know, so at Clash of the Choirs, I think it broadened my horizon, you know, when it comes to music. And I think we did so many different styles and types of music, and my voice had to like shapeshift, you know. So it was such an amazing, beautiful experience, and to also learn about the industry, and also saw like just a tiny bit of a dark side to the industry. Story for another day. But yeah, that's where I learned that, okay, Gabi, where you're going into now, you know, this industry, it has a lot. There are people who want to see you win, and there are people who don't want to see you win, you know. So there was that. Fast forward 2016, finished Clash of the Choirs, fully at UJ now, and then we start the group called Breathe later that year. So it actually started in 2015. We were practicing as we were rehearsing, like every Friday, guys, just learning a song. So we were learning it bits and pieces until finally it came together when we were on tour abroad. We took a video, we posted that video, it did well, and then we just started hanging out on Friday. It was like a Breathe day, just hanging out, guys. We'd get food, we'd tackle a song, rehearse the song, take videos or record clips. Like, there was really nothing to it, or at least we thought there was nothing to it, but God had other plans, you know. So we started doing gigs with Breathe when we started posting more, and doors started opening. They started inviting us to gigs and studio time, and we had our first TV gig, and yeah, like things started happening, and I was just being more and more exposed to the industry and the yeah, just that side of the industry. And I think that's where I started also having an interest in like BV work, you know, like artists, and started doing auditions. And I wasn't scared of auditions anymore. Started going for auditions for, like, you know, Bolebus Kobela and stuff like that. And yeah, and I really, really enjoyed it for a long time. And hey, guys, yeah, in the industry, you get to work with a lot of different characters, and you get to learn so much. You get to really learn a lot. And then this is gonna be so long. But anyway, fast forward to 2020. COVID. 2020, I stayed in Brixton with like a few of my housemates. So there was one guy who was like, hey, bruh, you sound so good. I always hear you sing. I need to introduce you to my friend, Uvrega. Shout out to him. He introduces me to Uvrega, and they say, okay, we have a record label. We don't sign you, but we work with you, you know, so you are affiliated with us. We have a studio and we work together, we help each other, called Liveli Lifestyle. I work with them. We have a few live performances together, and yeah, I met some amazing people. And I think there my musical ear was just being developed, you know. I was tapping into different genres, trying new things, looking at the writing process and production process from starting a song to finishing a song, and also learning to let a song rest and adding harmonies and doing this. And I'm starting to tap into my own creativity as well, which was absolutely beautiful. And that's where I met Yolanda as well. Worked with Yolanda, back to Yolanda. We started doing Loca Flicks with Liveli, and we're doing these shows together, and we're bonding, guys. We were really just kids who loved music, who loved this art thing. And I learned so much, man, from everyone, just the way they showed up for themselves and how hungry they were, you know, for music and for a breakthrough and for these opportunities. So it was really, really incredible to witness. And I remember I always said, like, I don't want to do gospel music. Like, no matter what happens, I don't want to do gospel music. And I told God, I was like, God, I've just seen so much darkness in the music industry, especially good gospel, than I've seen when I was doing gigs, Nabos Java, and, you know, outside of that. And it just changed my perspective and my heart towards it, because I was like, I don't want to be called to that, you know. I don't want to be in that space. So I ran away, guys, for so long. I ran away, just like Jonah. I did jazz, I did amapiano, I did Afrotech. I was doing a lot of things and it just wasn't happening. God was just like, nope. Then God literally took everything away from me, disrupted everything, and brought me back home. And then I had to find him again. And in finding him again, I found myself again. But also I found myself in a different way, you know. And found my identity in God again. And he then told me, good, dude, like, I'm not asking you to do this. This is what you're going to do. This is my plan. Fell in love so much more with gospel music now, because now I have a different perspective and understanding of what it is that God has called me to do. So that's where we are today, you know. Then I started obviously just going back and doing my covers and everything. So now I'm hosting my first ever, well, I hosted 2 worship nights that God had placed in my heart. And I was like, people need that space, you know. God like placed it in my heart that people need a place where they can just come and cry and just let it all out, you know. So you need to go and create that space. So God's promise is all about that as well, you know. It's God reminding us of all the promises that He's given us in the Bible, guys. Like, He'll be there. When you seek Him, you will find Him. When you need Him, He's there, you know. So I look forward to having you guys there at the event. I look forward to sharing the music that God has entrusted me with you guys. And yeah, thank you so much. We'll see you guys on the next episode. I look forward to more of this content, and thank you so much. Bye bye.